Morning guys, this is Adam Jones from London Perch Find. I hope you're well. I am back out on the canal. It's post-Christmas, so happy Christmas, just before New Year. I hope you guys have had a wonderful time and all of that jazz. I haven't been able to get out on the canal as much as I would have liked, but I have had a wonderful Christmas at home with the family, which has been awesome. I am now back in London. I'm back out on the canal. I'm down to a section that, if I'm honest, I haven't fished a huge amount, but I have heard of a couple of fish coming out recently, so come down to check it out. I am on my BFS setup as always, on the Aldebaran Speed Style 642 UL combo. I've currently got a TRD Bugs on a 1/10 gram bullet jig head. You know what it's like, it's what I know and love, so start off with that, see how we get on. I'm probably going to mess around with some TRDs. Also going to have a little look at finesse shads on a Carolina rig, depending on how the session goes. But basically, it's just my first session after Christmas. Hopefully we'll find a few fish. Again, if we don't, it's going to be a short video. I hope you guys are well. Thanks very much again for tuning into my YouTube videos. So pleased that you're enjoying them. Sorry I'm speaking quietly. There's quite a few canal boats here, and I'm sure there's quite a few people asleep, and it is first light, so hence my softly tones. Hope you guys are well. Like I said, thanks for watching my YouTube videos. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed them half as much as I've enjoyed making them, and I will speak to you all very, very soon and keep you posted on how we get on. Speak soon. Right guys, so again, thanks very much for tuning in. As you can see, I'm out on the canal. It's first light, so hence why I'm talking quite quietly, like I said in the intro. Really don't want any annoyed canal boaters coming out in their dressing gowns to tell me off. The plan today is just to fish, like I always fish, but try and find a few fish. I have got probably 3 hours, I would say, before I've got to go and get back to Christmas related bits and bobs. So like I said, I've come down here at first light. I've probably got 3 hours, and I'm going to continue just to bounce these things along the deck and see what happens. Right, so I don't know about you guys, but I've certainly found that it's been quite topsy-turvy fishing recently, certainly here in the UK. And one of the things that I've obviously observed, I think many people have, is the fact that the weather just can't seem to make its mind up. You know, we go from a couple of days of really cold weather to a couple of days of really wet weather, followed by 2 or 3 days of relatively mild weather, then we go back to cold weather, and the cycle seems to kind of begin again. So for me, to kind of give myself the best chance would to, you know, if I look back on my catches and see where I've been catching fish versus where I've been struggling, it's all about finding an element of consistency in the weather. So this morning it's 8 degrees. Yesterday I think it was 10.5 degrees, which is unbelievably warm for this time in December. My hope is that through that slight bit of consistency in temperature, this morning the fish are going to be on the feed, because what I have found is, you know, there's been days where it goes off and days where there's absolutely no action whatsoever, and if I'm honest, it's probably more like 3 or 4 days where there's absolutely no action whatsoever, followed by one day or one morning where it seems to go off. So I know there might be no rhyme nor reason to that, but my logic is that if you look for those patterns where the weather goes back to some sort of pattern, so 2 or 3 days of mild weather, 2 or 3 days of cold weather, then on that second and third day I've been noticing a kind of jump in, obviously, my ability to catch certainly the bigger fish. So For what it's worth, it might not be the right thing, it might be completely different, you might think it's something else, but for me, that's the way I've been approaching it, looking for those consistent periods of time in the weather. So I just thought I'd let you guys know. There's not a lot happening at the moment. Appears to be quite dead on the surface. I think we're looking for a reaction bite more than anything else at the moment. But we'll keep giving it a go and see what happens. Morning. I am now walking back in the opposite direction. I don't know whether you guys ever have the same thing, but it just didn't feel particularly fishy. There was saw a couple of massive carp just cruising around in the margins, but apart from that, there's no bait fish topping, there's no movement in the water. It's crystal clear. So I've just seen a massive swirl. Yeah, it just doesn't feel that fishy, but I am going to have a cast here before I move a bit further up. What I was going to say is I'm going to move a bit further up. There's some locks. I think I'm just going to kind of work the lock pounds as I go along. Standard stuff really, boats, locks, turning circles, move up the canal, keep moving, a couple of hours, so probably an hour up, an hour back down, and hopefully we'll pick up a couple of fish. But whatever that was rather large, so I'm just going to give that a quick cast, and I'll be back with you guys shortly. Speak to you in a bit. There is something absolutely enormous that is topping over there. So I've just lost a perch, decent one, just because I wasn't really concentrating, if I'm honest. And there is a enormous fish topping between a couple of these boats. I don't know what it is. I mean, it looks like a big pike, but it genuinely could be quite a few things. I know there's some big catfish in here, for example, so there's every possibility that's one of those. There you go, that's a perch. That's a good one as well. Trying to get in between that boat. There you go. Yes. Beautiful. That's a lovely fish. Now that is a proper perch. There you go. Chunky, angry perch. Right, I'm just going to rest him in the net and see if we can potentially winkle out another one. So what there is here is there is a definite shoal of bait fish with predators feeding on those bait fish. And the bait fish appear to be kind of shoaled up and getting pushed between these boats, kind of moving up and down a boat length of space. So there they are, they're over there, and every now and again something chases them to the surface so you can see where they are. And all I'm trying to do is cast in that general direction to see if I can tempt one of the perch that is following them round. Without, of course, oh, that was a great bite. Without, of course, hooking the pike slash catfish that appears to be following them around. They're literally being shoaled into my feet as we speak. There's another little perch. Not a big guy, but perch all the same. This is what winter perch fishing is all about. It's getting up at the right time of day, making sure the weather's right. Like I said, a couple of days of consistency, whatever that is. Trusting your methods and giving yourself a chance. And that's all this is. Just trying to put yourself in the right place. Now I know we're going to get another chance, but it just depends on where these bait fish are. Right, I'm going to get a quick shot of this guy, get him back, and try and get back on a couple of fish before this shoal moves away. I think it's probably moved slightly higher. Oh, there's another decent one. Keep your head down. Keep your head down. There we go. It's another good perch. I'll put this guy back in over here. See if we can find another one. Hey guys, I am back on the move. Sorry for the interruption, but managed to pick out some fish, which is great. Just kind of goes to show that keeping your eyes on the water and going with kind of what it feels like is really important to catching these fish. So, you know, the first spot that I turned up to is probably the most fishy looking section of this part of the canal. It'd be very, very easy just to stay there and just fish it and fish it and fish it. But there was just no movement. It just didn't feel right. Super clear. The whole canal's pretty clear, to be honest. So I could just see that there wasn't any bait fish swimming around. And obviously, without the bait fish, the only fish you're going to catch are the kind of the more stationary perch and pike and zander, if that's what you're fishing for, if they're sticking in a particular swim or a particular spot. So I was going to walk up the canal. There's a couple of locks which I'm going to head up to now, and just as I was walking past, obviously I was on the camera to you guys, there was a massive splash, and there was a kind of huge splash of bait fish and all that stuff, so obviously I stopped. I don't know what the big splashes were. It could have been a pike, could have been a catfish potentially, but there were a load of perch. So, you know, 10, 12 casts in that area resulted in 2 fish over 2 pound, and a little senior wasp. And that's the difference between catching the perch and not catching the perch, is the difference of going to the first spot that I started at, deciding it wasn't quite right, search a little bit, use your watercraft, find somewhere where the fish are, and you will catch fish. Stick to the methods that you know, stick to the fishing on the bottom. I didn't change my bait, I didn't mess around with anything. I knew that they would have it on the bottom, and when I found the fish, they did. So yeah, I mean, over the moon, if I'm honest. So now I'm going to move up the canal, going to look at the locks that I said I was going to look at before, and fingers crossed we can find a few more. Speak to you guys soon. Hey guys, right, so that's it. I'm in the car, as you can see, 2 hours and 20 minutes on the canal from first light until it's 25 past 10 now. It's got quite bright outside, the sun's up, clear skies. To be honest, quite a difficult session. The canal was crystal clear. Obviously, pretty much from first light, it started to get progressively brighter, and it was tough to find the fish. Great that we did, but I didn't manage to find any more decent perch after finding the ones that you've obviously seen in this video. Key things to take away from me is just, you know, fish with your eyes. Get out there and see kind of what looks fishy and what doesn't. Don't just stick to what you think is going to work, because if I'd done that today, I wouldn't have caught any fish. Obviously, I was lucky that I walked past the pike or whatever it was that was hitting bait fish on the surface, but kind of paying attention to those things, and then obviously fishing in the areas that you can see the fish makes a massive difference, and we did find a few. So it was a brilliant couple of hours. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, get out there on the bang, short sessions. It's so good to be back out after Christmas. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. I'm obviously going to put up a few more. Really enjoying making them. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time.